So this was our first pregnancy that we wanted to have a home birth. This was our 5th pregnancy, and the other 4, they were all in the hospital. Only one of them was natural. And I could see a difference in the process of how the natural birth went versus all the interventions and induction and stuff, and how my body handled it, and the health of the baby and the health of myself, and kind of felt like home birth might be a good option for us. So with the hospital birth, one of the bigger things for us was like not letting your body do what it's naturally meant to do. Trying to speed things up, which I guess there's a time and a place for that, but I think that when my body takes things at its own pace and its own time, that it was a lot better. From the start to finish, I just feel like it was more comfortable. The Pitocin induction was more painful than the actual labor when my body was doing it on its own. It was convenient to be induced when you are over being pregnant, but I think it was a lot more comfortable to have the baby, to have labor, delivery, all of it was better at our own time, my body's own time and pace. And then there's the side too of I didn't want to feel pressured from the medical staff to like do all the vaccines, or like the baby leaving the room and not knowing what they're doing in the other room, and not feeling pressured to do those things that I didn't agree with during pregnancy, after birth for the baby. That was another reason that we wanted to do home birth. With my second born, he was born naturally in the hospital in another country, and I noticed that my recovery with him was a lot better, even though he was a bigger baby, than it was with my firstborn that was an induction. And I think just allowing your body to naturally push a baby out versus having the epidural and not feeling anything and just pushing as hard as you can, maybe there was a little more damage that way. So I think one of the big differences that I noticed was the care in the office was very different than the care that I had in the hospital setting. It was very personal and it was longer. I feel like all my questions were answered very respectfully, and I felt like my options were laid out very respectfully, and I'm just honoring who we are individually. Another thing that I really liked was that a lot of options for like the glucose test to check the blood sugar. There was many options laid out, from like the traditional to checking your sugar at home to like the dye-free organic drink options. So that was nice, just to feel like they cared about your preference, and this to still want to monitor you and check your sugar levels and all of that, but you had options on what worked best with like our time and health preferences and things like that. So I really appreciated those options. I felt very prepared when the time came to give birth. I felt like, even when I feel like I didn't know what questions to ask, I feel like all of you guys really presented out the information in a tangible way that kind of helped me understand my body and the process and made me feel comfortable and at ease. And so when the time came to give birth, I wasn't really sure what to expect, because the only natural birth that I had had 2 weeks of prodromal labor, kind of off and on. I could feel it strong enough where I could time it, and it'd be like 2 or 3 hours, and then it would fizzle out, and then later on another 2 or 3 hours I could time it, and then it would fizzle out. And so I think my body was just practicing and getting ready for labor, but I never knew, like, is this it? Is this not it? And so with this baby, it was kind of the same thing. It was a few days of wondering, am I going into labor, am I not? A few hours would go by, and then it would fizzle out. And so we did that a few days again, not the full 2 weeks like last time, but thankfully. The other natural birth he was I think 10 days late, and 2 weeks of prodromal labor. And then with him, he was just a couple of days late. And I would say it was probably like 5 days of that, kind of trying to be aware, like, oh, I think it could be, but it may not be. And then finally, he was born on a Sunday, and so the Sunday morning, I could feel that they were getting a little more intense, and it wasn't fizzling out. And I was like, oh, maybe this is it. I think it's time for him to come. But I kept waiting just to make sure, because it was still comfortable enough to walk around. I didn't want it to fizzle out and call the midwives and not be the time. So I just kind of kept waiting, and then it started getting more uncomfortable to where I was like, you know what? A heating pad would feel really nice right now. That pool, that tub would feel really nice right now. So maybe I'll just go ahead and call them. So I went ahead and let them know, and they headed on over to the house. And Rebecca and Renee got there and set up the tub and checked on us, checked on me and the baby, and got everything set up. I was just in the bedroom, kind of laboring at the side of my bed. It was not my plan, I guess, but it turned out to be a really great situation because on one side of the bed we had like this much room. And so I stood in that gap, and so I had like support behind me from the wall, and then the bed in front of me with the bouncy ball, birthing ball in front of me that I was leaning over on that and kind of swaying on the ball, and had my back supported by the wall. And so that was actually a really comfortable way to be. So I hung out there for a while, and once the tub got filled up and heated up and the contractions got to where they were getting a little more uncomfortable, and so I made my way to the tub and I got in, and it was a lot of relief. I think, Rebecca, you're the one that said that it was the midwife's epidural. And I think that's true. So I got in the tub, and it brought a lot of relief. And the best way I could describe it is like when you've got a muscle ache and you put a heating pad on it, it just feels soothing. And then I think it takes some pressure off, trying to hold yourself up. You know, you're a little more floaty. And so I think it brought a lot of relief to get in the tub. I don't know that what I have in my head is realistic. Because in my head, I'm like, oh, I got in the tub, I had 3 contractions up on my knees, and then I sat back and had like 3 more, and he was born. I don't think that's right. When I was talking to my husband about it, he was like, I think it was a little longer than that. But like it really, I think once I got in that tub, and I don't know, it just went by really quickly, I think. I don't feel like it was that long, and I could feel, so I think I was up on my knees on the side of the tub for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 contractions. And then I felt the need to sit back. So I sat back, and I could feel him starting to come down and started feeling a lot of pressure. Definitely felt the urge to have a bowel movement. And I remember that feeling with some of the other kids. Like it's just that, you know, urge to push, that the baby's down low and he's ready to come out. And I was afraid to push, but he was coming and he was going to make his way out. I appreciate the things that Rebecca said, that you said to, I think just give me peace of mind. Like, this is what's supposed to happen. This is how it feels. I remember wanting to get out and go sit on the toilet. I was like, I'm scared I'm going to poop in the tub. And I know you said maybe we should cut this out, but I do appreciate that. I probably would have given birth on the toilet if I had gotten up and got out to get on the toilet. But just went with what my body was doing and quit fighting it and pushed him out. And I know that was, I guess it's been 3 months now. And so looking back, you know, I think it's something that our minds do as mothers, be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. That was quick. That was easy. But I know in the moment, if I really think about it, that I remember feeling like it was very painful, you know, that ring of fire especially. But it goes so quick, and your baby's out, and it changes everything. Everything changes, and your mind shifts quickly to your baby. And I guess after that, just a few minutes passed, and the placenta came, and we had a very long cord. That was fun to learn that when you have a wiggly baby, sometimes it makes the cord extra long, and he was definitely a wiggly baby with a long cord. But I really loved being able to get out of the tub and get in bed and just being at home and having all of our things at home. The food and the drinks that you want, your bed, your pillows, your people, your environment, not having to drag all your stuff back and forth to the hospital, and getting out and putting a baby in a car seat and making your way home, all of those things. It was really nice to just be home and not have to go anywhere, especially in the winter time, just to have everything there. I felt very cared for, and I felt safe, and I felt at ease because I had asked lots of questions before about, you know, what all are you guys prepared to do? Like, if something went wrong, what are you all prepared to do? And they talked me through like everything that's in the birth kit and everything that you have the capability to do. And I just felt so much at ease that I was in good hands, and you guys were very capable to take care of things. And so postpartum was really good. I think Renee came back, I guess within 48 hours. I think it was not the next day, but the next day that Renee came back and checked on us. I had a lot of questions at that point about postpartum because it'd been a few years since I had a baby. I felt like the education and the questions that I answered, I felt like were really well answered. I had a lot of questions about my body and my pelvic floor, and with having 5 babies, things can change. And so I had a lot of reassurance and guidance on what's next. I'm thankful for that. When I think back, I'm very grateful for this experience. I'm very grateful. I think it's everything. It surpassed all my hopes and dreams.
Oh,
you know, I was very surprised, and I don't think I should have been, but I was surprised at how fast it went and how, I don't know, it was beautiful. It was more peaceful than I could have ever imagined. I don't know. I think it's just the way that God created it. I think it was how it was supposed to be. And we turn it into such a different thing in the hospital sometimes. And sometimes that's necessary, but I think for the most part, our bodies know what they're supposed to do. Just grateful. Just grateful. I think once I got in bed and everything was just calm, and I just remember being like, thank you, Lord. Thank you that this went so well, went so smooth and so peaceful, and just to be home and be there with our little family. I just remember feeling grateful. Yeah.